stunt team.
The vibes, getting the energy correct, the energy levels.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Excellent.
So your name's throwing me off.
I'm sorry?
The name is throwing me off.
The name is throwing you off?
Is your first name Robert?
Robert Danson?
Robert Dunson. No, that's my gag name. It's my name's actually Robert Dean English, and I put Robert. I don't know. It just seemed like fun.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, and then, yeah.
That's just throwing Adrian for a loop now. She's like,
we're good.
What the hell? Who is this guy?
So, for the rare people who don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself and tell us your role on Warrior Nun?
Introduce myself and my role on Warrior Nun. My name is Dean English. Go by synonyms on various forums. My background has been as a my background in producing started when I first started doing music video clips, which then led to concert films, which then led to auteur feature films, which then led to animated feature films. And it was always a case of just trying to do more fun stuff. And eventually I decided to try to adapt a graphic novel into a feature film. And I stumbled, being the key verb, stumbled across Warrior Nun and talked to Ben Dunn, and he described it to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think this is something that we can have a lot of fun with. So I then worked with a Finnish team, and we created a feature film script based on the storyline for Warrior Nun, and created the character of Ava as an entrance for the audience into the world, and the halo is something that ties all the nuns together from beginning till end. And the problem with the script was it was too complicated, too much backstory. And eventually I brought it to my friend Simon Barry, who I've known forever, to ask him to read it and just give me his opinion on it. And he read it and said, I'd love to do it as a 10-part TV show. Do you want to try that? So I said, okay, let me think about it. So I thought about it, went, okay, let's try. And the next thing you know, I'm talking to you.
When you say 10 part, do you mean 10 series or 10 episodes?
No, one season, 10 parts.
Okay.
And then season 2, they said, we're going to do 8 parts. So that's the short version. I can give you the long version, but we don't want to go there. That's too long. But that's, so basically, I ended up here just by having like the nose and going, Warrior Nun sounds like a cool idea. And it is a cool idea, but it did not have enough of, it was a skeleton. It set the table, but we needed to then fill in all the pieces to make it work as like an emotional story.
How long has Warrior Nun been in your life?
A long time. Some would say too long. I think I optioned it in 2012 or 2013. Oh my God. Yeah, a long time. A long time ago.
So you understand the passion that the fandom has in this?
Oh, the thing that really connected myself to the fandom was realizing that when you know you have something special and you know that this story can be told and it can work, and everybody tells you, or 95% of the people, most of the people tell you, go away, you don't know what you're talking about, but you know, why am I saying it in third person? But I knew that it could work if I just kept fighting and persevering and being stubborn and not giving up. And I know that when I saw the passion in the fandom emerge, I could absolutely connect to that it was, like a mirror. Oh, I understand this. Mm-hmm. And I guess, and one thing I've been trying to say always is that you have to remember it's a marathon and not a sprint. And also, if you work hard, the rewards will come. And I know I've said this before, and it may not be as you imagine them, but rewards will come if you work hard. So that's how I always kept going. I mean, when I first optioned Warrior Nun, could I imagine it being a Netflix TV show? No. Forget it. Like, that Netflix didn't exist really at that point. And how could this become a 10-part series? It's like, there's no way. Cut to people saying, oh, they can't imagine it as being anything but a 10-part, 18-part Netflix show. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know, but that's.
Speaking for the fandom, I think that we would like to see it like a 50-part series on Netflix.
Minimum.
Yeah.
It must be very validating though to, like, as you said, you've been working or been trying to get Warrior Nun to see the light of day for many, many years. And believing in it and as much as you believed in it, and trying to convince other people to see the potential that you saw. So it must be very validating for you to see the movement behind the whole hashtag Save Warrior Nun, and seeing that we do see the potential, and we see the love, and we see the passion in the show, and these characters that were created in the show. So it must be very validating for you to see so many people, global amount of people, showing and sharing that love as much as you do.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, to put it in perspective, I think most people who work in this industry never have a moment like this, ever. When you have a show that draws such a dedicated fan. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody got a tattoo. Like one of the logos or a symbol, and I went, holy shit, this show, or something in the show, or the spirit, or the energy, or the way it provided an atmosphere for people to love each other, or I'm not sure what it is, but it motivated somebody to say, this is something that's so important in my life right now that I'm going to get it permanently etched in here, like etched into my soul. And then, then I made the mistake of asking on Twitter, could you send more pictures of tattoos? And like,
people happily obliged.
Yeah. I've had this happen one other time on kind of like a art house film called Kissed. And the first time I realized it had actually touched, see, I'm getting all emotional, so I'm holding my chest so you guys can see that. The first time I realized it had touched an audience member was when we were at a festival, and people would wait after they have the introduction of the filmmakers, blah, blah, blah. People want to talk to the producer and the actors. Nobody wants to talk to the producer. Or no, people want to talk to the director and the actors. Nobody wants to talk to the producers, except people wanted to come up and talk to me and ask how it is that we made the decisions to preserve the integrity of the story, and how it touched them and made them think about their memories with. And I was just like going, oh my God, this person has had a real emotional connection. And I've had, like 15 years later, I'll meet somebody and they say, what do you do? Blah, blah, what do you produce? I produce this one film. They're like, you did that? I remember when I saw that. And I can just see their whole life just became like one of these moments where they saw this film and something connected. So to have that, I thought this will never happen to me again. Mm-hmm. But no, that was just the warm up. Then comes Warrior Nun. Boom, global, people, tattoos, so I can totally get the energy, and it's the most humbling thing possible, is all I can say. I mean, you can't set out to do that. It's impossible. You just set out to do the best, try to tell the best story that you can. And if you're lucky and the stories work and the director, and everything works, because all it takes is a couple bad scenes, like for a feature film, and the whole thing is over. It worked, like miracle. How did it work? It did. I'm not sure how, but it did.
That's one thing that has been said throughout every interview that we've had with the crew. It was the best shoot. It was a family atmosphere. They all had a great time, and they haven't seen it since or before.
Oh, this is where we get weepy. Here's a family. Luckily, not a dysfunctional, evil family. No, it's like, it truly is. I mean, the easiest way I look at filmmaking is like when you start a film, it's like a spaceship that takes off and you disassociate from reality, and then you shoot for whatever weeks and then you land. And if things work well, you can end up with a beautiful, beautiful story. Unless you're doing a slasher film, so that's a different animal.
Like they did with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
That was a strange adaptation. I think it's safe to say that Warrior Nun has had an incredible impact on a lot of people. I think it's not too far of a stretch to say that it might have saved some people's lives in some respect, and allowed people to understand themselves, love themselves, because they see themselves in so many aspects of the characters that this show created and developed even more so in season 2. And seeing the representation, whether that be LGBTQ plus or people of color or just people from different areas of life around Spain and the places all these people come from, I think that's a huge part of why we fight for this show, because it just has so many elements to it that it's not just a show. So here's hoping we can get more episodes.
Well, for me, it's not just the show, it's the universe that's created that allows characters like this to exist. And a wise person, a woman, obviously, said to me, who's sitting right there, who said to me, it's that it allows their relationship between Beatrice and Ava by chance, but it allows their relationship to develop in a way that is natural and normal, like two people would if they were falling in love. And which makes me just go, why not try to create why not, as opposed to Warrior Nun just being the one, why not try to create a whole world where we can have that story told through many different experiences? Like if we were to follow Shotgun Mary on her.
A plethora of women's stories in all their variety and richness.
Did you guys hear that? Did you hear Charlotte?
A little bit, something about centered around women's stories.
No, I said a plethora of women's stories in all their variety and richness.
100%.
That's not something we see on TV every day.
I agree.
And I think that Warrior Nun and just the kind of...
Do you want to sit down?
No, but I'm sorry, I'm interfering.
No, you're not.
I work with Dean on this, so I allow myself to interfere a little bit. No, but just the whole kind of rich texture of all these characters, instead of really not just following one single hero, like so many male stories are about. It's about the kind of relationships and all the different facets and parts of the puzzle that they bring. And I think that's kind of magical and special and unusual. Voila. Back to you, Dean.
I feel like everything I say going forward is going to be shallow.
I agree. I think a big part of Warrior Nun is there is such a wide variety of strong female leads in it that hit so many different aspects of being female and the different strengths and weaknesses, and that we're not all damsels in distress. We don't all need a hero to save us, but it's, and as you said, it's not just about that central character of Ava. It's the secondary, in inverted commas, are just as important in how they elevate the story as a whole, as well as elevate what is essentially the main character of the show.
And just so I can introduce Charlotte, she said we're working together. Charlotte is an author and also a fashion designer. And she penned a document which kind of lays out an entire universe in which such a story as Warrior Nun takes place.
It's sort of background notes for a universe. It's not it's not written in tidy chapters like Harry Potter. It really is just the essential parts, if you will. So it doesn't read like a novel. It's really just sort of mapping out how it all fits together and who the characters are and where their stories go and the motivation and so on. And I think it's very important that they are all multi-layered and have their own personal motivation instead of just being good and bad and so on, like we see so often in this type of like fantasy world.
Yeah, that's true. And now everybody's going, what do you know that we don't?
Well,
all I could say is that if you believe in the world which created Warrior Nun, we want to have that world, have Warrior Nun just be a part of that world. But the energy that exists within Warrior Nun exists within this entire universe. I hate the word universe. It sounds so lame.
No, but I think it's very essential that it's kind of seen through a female lens. I don't know how to put that into words more specifically, but I think that all women who go through life having lived that experience, they can feel the kind of authenticity of that when it's there. And that's something that is present in Warrior Nun, and I think it's something that we can explore much more deeply going forward.
Yes, I like that idea. I think a part of what we're fighting for is to also get back what we had as well, because it matters so much. And it's important to so many people. And while we're still here almost, 6 months later.
Yeah.
And while we read into every little thing that comes out, there's season 3, coming.
But that speaks to the rarity of this kind of scenario. If there were 1,000 other things out there like that, you guys wouldn't react this way.
And can I jump in here rudely?
Sorry.
Rudely like the guy. Well, I got something to say. That's more.
Yeah, go on.
No. I'm saying what the inspiration that I took from you guys. I mean, as I watched the number of tweets grow, the number of TikTok. I mean, 1 billion. You guys, what's going on? Like 1 billion views on TikTok.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That shows you that there is a global audience, like a thirst has been, there's like a bubbling audience just waiting for this to take place and waiting for us to come forward and say, it is here, it is there. I don't know why everybody's oblivious to it. Sorry.
I've described it as a kind of cultural and emotional undercurrent, like something really deep that has been touched on that is waiting under the surface because it's not everywhere in popular culture. It's not being seen, but it's there. And the hunger and the thirst for that kind of story is enormous. And it's funny because we were talking about this word undercurrent the other day, and it kind of really shouldn't be an undercurrent, because I feel like women really loudly try to explain who they are and be more seen and be more present in society, but it's still called an undercurrent because those stories aren't being represented as widely as they should be. Mm-hmm. So calling it an undercurrent is, it's blatantly there all around us all the time. But I mean, Warrior Nun has come along and is one of the first to kind of really tap into it. So to let that go and not explore this world further would be a crime.
Well said. Well said.
Let that be your clue.
Yeah.
So someone has a question. It's like, how do you get these stories out there? Because it's so frustrating for us. And I think that's one of the things that, even Sarah Walker has pointed out, how hard it is in the industry to get these stories told. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the billion-dollar question. How do we change? How do we help change it?
Well, everybody can use...
You're doing it already. But yeah, go on, answer.
No, everybody can... It's almost, and I'm from the school of like guerrilla commando filmmaking. The first film I did, we had enough money to shoot it. We had no idea how we were going to post it, do the post-production, no idea. But we just raised enough money to shoot it, thinking we'll do that, and then we'll raise the next amount of money to post it. By that point, if we'd have spent the time like trying to raise money with no, in fact, knowledge that we'd be able to finish it, we'll know we're finished. So I'm more, let's just do it and throw logic out the window, but let's just go for it. And take advantage of everything you can find around you to help you achieve that. And I know that one thing that's really important and cool with this is the voice that the fans are lending to this is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, in talking to somebody who works within this industry, they were blown away by the sheer volume and strength of the fandom. They're like, holy cow. Mm. That's after 7 o'clock, so I could say, holy shit. Can you believe that these guys have crossed 1 billion TikTok views? Like, what? This does not happen.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of the people. So it's not like, it's almost like in my best case scenario, it's the filmmaking creative team feeds off the fandom, feeds off one and the other, and use that to leverage through all the people who, the producers who make the decisions based on graphics and charts that we don't like.
I think you're already well on your way of doing the kind of stuff that you can do. Like, just be as vocal and as loud and as insistent as possible to...
And don't stop.
No, but to kind of bring this message. And now you're the speakers. Then you can't leave.
No, I'm just looking for something. Keep talking.
You're freaking me out.
Oh, sorry.
No, but I mean, I think our role, if I may say so, is to connect the speakers, with a kind of listening ear. The point now is to be heard. So to try and bring that to the industry, to be part of that chain, I think is because nobody's alone. Again, it's a network. Mm-hmm. So I think we're doing it together a little bit, aren't we?
Yes, we are doing it together.
Well, yeah. I wanted to point out that you've seen the London video.
Yeah.
And that was actually done by Leah, who's with us today.
Oh. Hi, Leah.
That's the mastermind.
The evil mastermind.
Evil's a bit of a stretch.
Evil mastermind. Well,
I'm a sweet mastermind.
Yeah.
I'm the sweet mastermind.
But
no, it's
good.
It's awesome that the London video did go down as well as it did, and that was my hope and my intention when I went over to London and wanted to film it, and thankfully the people that spoke on camera, and I know how daunting it can be to speak on camera if you're not used to it and having a camera shoved in your face.
Act natural.
Yeah, act natural. It can be quite scary, and obviously answering the way that they did, talking about the show and what it means to them. And everyone spoke so great or so well. And it's because of them that I was able to produce such a powerful video. And I think what all of them said was very powerful and is a testament to what we're all trying to do and what the fandom is about. And it's just a result of the show and the cast and the crew and that created the show, and just the serendipity of it all coming together and being this perfect recipe that we hope will continue the way that we would want it to continue, hopefully.
Well, I took your video and sent it out to a lot of my friends in the industry.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Those who are like, I'm just like, because it was from you, and it was so professional and it was so emotional and so touching. Mm-hmm. Everybody watched that was just like, oh, wow. It put a lot of faces to the, to the numbers, to the fandom faces. Here are the actual people. Mm-hmm. Here's what it actually means. And well spoken.
Yeah, as I said, everyone spoke so well, and just answered the questions perfectly, and we're open and honest because it's obviously this show has a lot of representation, and not everyone is free to openly talk about that or feel comfortable talking about that. So the fact that those people everyone that spoke in the video did speak so openly about it was fantastic. And as I said, if they hadn't have put up with me sticking a camera in their face for the day and then interviewing them and putting a mic on them and stuff like that, we wouldn't have gotten what we got. So hopefully we're going to try and create an even bigger, I can't go out to all the countries to film people, but we're hoping to make a bigger, more global, as you love to use the word, video that using the kind of the inspiration of the London video, and hopefully that will come out soon-ish.
So we are out of time, but we wanted to let everybody turn on their cameras and just wave hi and show their love to you guys.
Out of time. I'm having fun. Do we have to go?
Sorry.
Well, I'm sure Adrian would love to, or we would all love to have another extended interview with you, but so I'm sure we could probably arrange that.
Let's schedule that in for another time. Let's make another date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's over 57 people in here, I think.
Oh wow.
So this is just a small representation of.
There's over 80.
Oh, excuse me.
Over 80.
Wow. 83.
Yeah.
Great on.
If you just want to, I know that you touched on this, but if you could just give a little inspirational message to us before you leave, we'd appreciate it.
You start. Talk about the story of.
No, okay. Sorry, that's a really wide question, but I'm just going to say what I was thinking before.
15 seconds.
What?
Yeah,
just 15 seconds.
To me, it's inspirational. What you guys are doing is so inspirational, and I think what Leah said just now about people being so open and lovely, answering her questions. I think it's so important that everything is coming from inside. Do you know what I mean? It's so authentic, and you guys are really doing it for yourselves. It's not a kind of outside constructed thing. It's so organic, and I find that so incredibly inspirational and lovely, and I'm full of admiration for you guys.
Thank you.
And I feel like I can only be a letdown after that.
Never.
What I can say is this, just that I wake up and see what you guys have done, and it empowers me to keep going and almost and think, okay, we did this, let's go for something bigger and crazier, because God forbid we could actually succeed.
And can I just say, when I write things for a possible upcoming, I don't know, maybe not something, it's so inspirational that you guys are out there, and I feel like it kind of emboldens me a little bit to write the characters that I would want to, rather than what would be expected of me, if you see what I mean. Because it feels so authentic, everything.
Well, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay. People going to wave? Turn your cameras on and wave?
Yeah, we're here.
There's probably pages. There's probably a few pages that you just have to cycle through.
You need to scroll.
Yeah, you need to scroll.
Oh, wow.
We need to scroll?
How does this work? We're too old to understand.
Because there's 4 pages of people. It's limited to how many people can go on screen.
We're too stupid. We'll get it next time. Well, even if we can't see the faces of everyone, it was amazing that everybody was here. Thank you so much.
Yes, it was lovely, and I'm more than happy to chat again.
Okay, that sounds great. Awesome. We'll take you up on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.